Well, good morning. Uh, I'm assuming a lot of people went to church this morning, so I don't know how many people, potential listeners, I have out there. Um, so, let's look at football, shall we? Start off the day with the Giants are already losing. They're in Germany, so the games have been on for a while. I haven't seen any of it. Then when I checked the score, they were losing 10-0. They don't care anymore. They're going for the number one. They'll win a game or two to keep them from getting the number one draft pick, but that's just giant stupidity. My picks today are Chicago, Buffalo, Kansas City, or you can gamble and take the points and bet Denver. Minnesota, 49ers, Washington, Miami, the Rams, the Eagles, the Jets, and Detroit. Detroit and Kansas City look like the two teams most likely to end up in the Super Bowl. But at this time of year, it's very difficult to predict that. I'd like to see I'd like to see Kansas City roll the table, but you never know. It's just the way it gets unpredictable when you get into the playoff area. It's kind of strange there. So we'll have to wait and see. It's just teams like the Giants disgust me, and so do the Jets. They fell for this Aaron Rodgers bullshit. He's not the second coming of God. He's not the smartest man in the room. Any of that crap. Should have stayed on Jeopardy. All right, let's see. Where are we going now? Oh, two books that I own and have read many times, and in which I expressed the desire for the American public to read so that they would know what's coming in a second term of Trump, but they didn't bother. Now they are like number 2 and 9 on the Amazon's best-selling list, and then there's like one of them's 7 or something on Barnes and Noble's bestseller list. That's Orwell's 1984 and The Handmaid's Tale. Both of them. Handmaid's Tale is about how women are subjected to do nothing more than have children for the elite. They're breeders. They're nothing more. They're no more educated, no more teachers, no more leaders, no more nothing, That would be a very horrible mistake for the country to make, since some of the smartest people in this country are women. Donald Trump is trying to placate women a little bit by making his chief of staff a woman. He had Kelly in there for a while, and then just ran over him and forced him out, and the same thing is going to happen to this woman. I don't think it'll last as long as Kelly did, but we'll see. Now, Orwell's 1984 has been around a long, long time, and there have been people in governments all over the world that have wanted that type of government. Okay? They're not necessarily a violent sort. They just always watching you. It's about constant surveillance, and that's where I think a guy like Musk comes into Trump's inner circle. Not so much for his cuts and the budget and everything like that. That's just to make everybody rich, except us. No, it's more about surveillance and the Russia did that with the secret police and their policy of people ratting people off. Oh, excuse me. As a means of keeping their jobs and whatnot. Well, this will be different, because Orwell is all about the little. You look at I'm looking at my camera right now on my computer, and there's a little red light on the side of it. What happens in that thing is that light turns into a camera, you know, and they're filming you the whole time you're there. It can't be shut off. My camera can be shut off, but I think anyhow. But they can't. You can't shut off cameras. That they'll be in your house. You know. It's like when the cable company came out with these fiber optics. Fiber optics has the ability to travel both ways. Okay, so that's when I began to. That's when I read. Well, that's when I began to look back at 1984 and take a second look at it and say, that's how they did it. You know? They don't have to go in each and every house. The technology's already there. They go to the manufacturers, you know, and they'll do it a gradually thing. It's not going to happen overnight, and they don't care if it happens overnight, you know? The rich people, the people that are in charge of things, they're the ones that could really affect things. They're the ones that are going to be watched constantly. The streets will be watched constantly, so, you know, mass gatherings and things like that will be a little bit hard to pull off secretly, so you won't see it there. That's Orwell's version of it. Now, I'm not sure, when I read The Handmaid's Tale, it was like this woman wakes up and finds out this is the way things are going to be. You're only allowed to have sex with your employers or whatever, you know, you're the elite, you know. Common men are, if they try to have sex with women, can be killed. They're hung in public squares and stuff like that. It's kind of strange, but this is one where, you know, the women sort of get pissed off at it and start a revolt and everything. And this is something that will happen. I mean, you know, subjugation of 300 and some odd million people is not practical. Okay? In this world, and being who we are, if you bring the military home to enforce laws in this country, somebody's going to go knock you off. Okay? Very easily. First things to go are probably Hawaii and Alaska. And then they'll come after the rest of the country. They'll do it by taking over Canada, probably. You know, it's just, see, the reason that for Trump to manage the world, which is what he really wants to do, he wants to be the king of the world. The problem there is, though, even though some of his policies might be agreeable to a good portion of people or what have you, he's not likable. He's a wimp. He's a pussy. He doesn't have a lot of power yet. The power he does have, he's not going to know how to use it. That's his problem. Right now, there's some dangerous people around Trump, including J.D. Vance, because J.D. Vance is a religious nut. Okay, so he's a Christian. I don't know what they call it. Christian, some sort of Christian party that he belongs to. You know, that's him. You know, and he, again, I'm not all that worried about it. I mean, he's much smarter and much more articulate than Donald is, but I don't worry about it too much because he too isn't well liked. You know, that might prevent them from pulling some of the stunts they want to in the world. And the deal is that they know that militarily we'll be weaker under Donald Trump than we are under any other president. You know, including me. The country would be stronger with me as president as opposed to Donald Trump. But it looks that way. You know, he's gonna export all these people, deport them, and he's gonna need a lot of people to do that. It's gonna cause a lot of internal strife, and A guy like Musk sits around and says, that's good, that's chaos. We can do this, or we can do that while this is going on. I'm not so sure about that. We'll have to wait and see. It's a tough battle, you know. But like I said before, now people are starting to understand something. You should read those books, 1984 and The Handmaid's Tales, and what was the other one, Fahrenheit 451 or something like that. Yeah, there's some other books you should read too. That what is it? How these books become reality, you know. It's like the first time I realized that was Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and I realized that these books can predict reality. So when I read The Handmaid's Tale and Orwell's 1984, I got really scared because I believe that's the reality we're facing now. I mean, it was just a simple, you know, that's it. There it is, you know. I still wonder if Trump, if he gets on this revenge tour, really, will take revenge on the NFL, because he really hates them. You know, not the players, not the game. He hates the structure, because the owners wouldn't let him own a team. You know, so he's going to figure out. I think he'll figure out some way to get control of that. You know, I'm not sure how. It's going to be a rough road, but people are going to have to stand up, take a chance. You know, I've seen some of the congressmen and stuff like that, ex-congressmen and stuff like that have been fighting Trump all along, still talking, because they're not afraid of him, because they think he's a weak, simple-minded little fat guy. I don't worry about him. I told you that. I worry about Thiel and all these other people in the background, and the amount of racism that's in this country. You just didn't understand that. That's the other reason the Democrats lost. They didn't understand that. I think if Biden stayed in the race and just avoided confrontation with Trump and just said things occasionally, he could have won. And then Kamala could have taken over, okay? But Kamala couldn't win for several reasons. One, nobody really wants a female president right this moment, okay? There's too much machismo in the government right now. That's number one. And number two, they don't want another black president or person of color, or however you want to say it, in the Oval Office again. Because to this day, Obama's more popular than Trump will ever be. And that, you know, I don't know what he would have done, but he would not have allowed Kamala to win the election, you know. And I still think, based upon the fact that you don't see her anywhere right now, that she didn't have a plan. She didn't know what she was doing. It was sort of a, well, that's what you do. You put the vice president up because the president can't run. It's like Pelosi said that, you know, we should have had been able to have a primary season with her and see what she was capable of, and to see if there were other people out there that might just do better than she did. But everybody jumped behind her, and it just didn't work, because the rest of the world was, the politicians might have jumped behind her, but the rest of the world wasn't. There were issues that she could have campaigned on. She didn't. She didn't campaign enough. Okay, she spent too much time dealing with Pennsylvania. You know, there were other states that she should have paid attention to. And she could have picked up a a few more of the little votes, But that's, hindsight. All right, listen. Time to go watch some football. Talk to you guys tomorrow.